Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to the quarterfinals of Pokemon Masters League Season 5. As you know, my matchup this week is against Neji Boston and the Driftveil Darkrais. So, without further ado, let's get into the matchup between our two teams. On his side, he has Great Tusk, Spectrier, and he has Meowscarada. He has Celesteela, Blaziken, and Manaphy. In his RU section, he first drafted Togekiss, but I have it in the middle. I was just kind of entering them in on memory. So he has Togekiss, Overquill, and Sandy Shock's Terra. Togekiss is his Terra, one of his Terra captains, with Terra Fairy, Terra Ground, Terra Steel. In his final three picks, he has Terra Mesprit with Psychic, Steel, and Poison. He has Decidueye, and he has Typhlosion. This matchup to me, seems like a bit of a nightmare matchup. But I think it's still possible for it to work out. I am very happy. I'm very happy with my prep, and I think I should have a chance. So let's take a look over at what my team is for the week. So I will be starting this off with a Choice Specs Victini. Max special attack, max speed, 4 defense, timid nature. This is to speed tie, because he has a bunch of 100 speed Pokemon that I would have to speed tie. And it will still always leave me 1 point behind Sandy Shocks, but that's absolutely fine. Next up, I have Grenade the Greninja. We're holding a Focus Sash this week. We have Protean. 48 HP, 252 special attack, 208 speed, modest nature to outspeed Sandy Shocks. Toxic Spikes, I think this week is going to be a huge factor for me. Toxic Spikes, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, and Surf. And then next up we have Queen Lola the Lopunny. Obviously being Mega Lopunny holding the Lopunite item. 40 HP, 252 attack, 216 speed, Jolly Nature to outspeed Spectrier, Fake Out, Return, Close Combat, and U-Turn. This week, I decided on a pretty interesting Scizor set. It's going to be Green Ranger the Scizor with a Mental Herb. Mental Herb is to in case I have to put Scizor in front of, is that I can put Scizor in front of a pretty weak, in front of like a not heavily boosted Spectrier, and I can just click Swords Dance, and he can't taunt me from clicking Swords Dance, which is good for me. So we have 248 HP, 8 attack, 252 special defense. With Technician. Finally, we will have a silly joke the Rhydon with Eviolite. Ability is going to be Lightning Rod, Terra Water. 252 attack, 4 defense, 252 special defense. This is likely to be our lead Pokemon, but we could always lead Greninja and just try and get a layer of Toxic Spikes. I think Greninja has quite a lot of use in this, but I do want to get it in decently early to be able to click Toxic Spikes. I think Toxic Spikes without him using Overquill can really be a pain for his team and just chip him and chip him and chip him, unless he's deciding to run Boots. But anyways, back to Rhydon. We're gonna have Adamant Nature, Stealth Rock, Superpower, Earthquake, Smackdown. So heavily on the special defense side, trying to live some hits potentially. And yeah, that's what I expect. Gonna actually be getting into the battle very shortly here, so I will come back after with the replay. Alright, my match has concluded with Neji Boston. And this match was grueling. This match was brutal. This match had everything in Pokemon, pretty much. Almost everything that you could ask for. So let's take a look at the team that he brought. I didn't actually go over what I thought he would bring. There was one Pokemon I was expecting that he didn't bring. That I thought was going to be pretty necessary in the matchup. But turns out that he ended up going with something else. So he brought Spectrier, Great Tusk, Overquill, Celesteela, Togekiss, and Meowscarada. I expected Tusk, Spectrier, and Meow. I expected Celesteela. I actually thought he would bring Manaphy over Overquill, and then it was just kind of a guess whether he'd bring Togekiss or whether he would bring Togi or Mesprit as his Terra. Um, and so from my end, I have the Pokemon that you saw on the screen just a second ago, and so let's go ahead and go through the replay. Uh, this is a very interesting game. I looked at the load screen and I said, "Oh wow, what if I just lead Scizor and see if he goes to Steela and try and get and just U-turn out into like whatever, like kind of just get a feel for whichever Pokemon he brings in, because I didn't think he was leaving his. I honestly didn't think he was gonna leave his Togekiss in here. I thought he was switching to Celesteela, so I wanted to go U-turn, and I was just wanting to see what he brought. He ended up just actually clicking a move and clicking Protect. So he wanted to get his Terra out right away, but he knew he wasn't staying in. So I ended up just clicking Swords Dance for some reason. I wanted to click Swords Dance. I guess I wanted to click Swords Dance in case he like put something in front of me that I could really hurt. But I do believe that every time I should just click U-turn just to see whatever he brings in. It's free. Even if I take Rocky Helmet Chip, I'm okay. And I always have something for his team. So here we switch to Rhydon. We get Flamethrowered. In turn 2, it already begins. We've got the 10% Flamethrower burn that really hurts. It hurts more in the way that, like, I had a way to 1v1 Steela, and now I don't. So now I just take my rocks, I take the chip, and then I switch on this next turn. So 67%, I go to Dose, Neji clicks Substitute. Here, my thought process is, I have to break this. I think he's always just clicking Leech Seed, because Flamethrower doesn't do enough damage. And it really just has to be in a better. I really just need this in a better position for me in the end. And so I click Discharge. I got this defeated. He does click the Leech Seed, and now he's forced to switch. He's forced to switch out, otherwise he could take a lot of damage. So he switches to Togekiss, and I predicted Great Tusk. I've predicted that he would go Great Tusk into Discharge. So I clicked E-Sense, which is unfortunate. Maybe even then I'm still just supposed to click U-turn to bring something in. Instead here, I take the U-turn out, and I switch into Scizor. It's essentially the same thing, but it gives a little bit of chip damage. I see that he has Dazzling Gleam, and he has Protect at this point. I don't know his full kit yet. Celesteela comes in, and I once again go for... And this time I actually do click U-turn, and I bring Victini in. And this is a pivotal thing that I have to do a couple of times this game. Is getting Victini in, because I think that he's going to assume... I think he's going to want me to be... He's going to want me to be physical Victini. Because Victini does a lot into his team, but if he can bring in his Overquill and if he can bring in Overquill and he can catch me being a physical set, then my Victini is very useless. But I didn't really even account for that, but I just accounted for the fact that Blue Flare would do more damage. That actually max Blue Flare into a max HP into a pretty, even like a decently bulky Tusk up to a certain point would generally always OHKO. And in other times it's probably a roll. So I go ahead and I rip a Blue Flare into his Overquill. Gotta hope it hits. It hits, and it also KOs, which obviously he's his over. So I draw first blood with Overquill. For sure. Let me quickly put some music on. My apologies. I always need to have music on, and I always forget. Okay. Let's put this on. Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm just gonna put on some Pokemon Lo-Fi very quickly. We're doing it live. Cool. Oh, sorry about that. That's my other screen is still showing. All right. Well, there you go. You got to see a little bit of what I was finding for my song, but regardless, so I draw first blood. He brings out his Togekiss, and so I just decide that whatever happens here, that I need to just switch, and I think Scizor was the best switch, and this was actually the best way to find out that there was Toxic. I wasn't expecting Toxic. I might have actually expected Thunder Wave into it. But I ended up getting the Scizor switch, and I think once again here I clicked Swords Dance. But Swords Dance wasn't great here. I ended up just switching back to Victini, expecting Leech Seed, which creates the same scenario where he's forced, where my opponent is, yeah, he protects to check. I think I have already seen Protect at that point. No, I hadn't. So I should have expected Protect, but I did 49% with this. I switched. I don't know if I should have actually switched. I think I should have just Blue Flared again. That was a bit of a bad mistake by me. Because I can just rip it, and I probably get rid of his Pokemon. But yeah, here I click Yui. And I bring Greninja in, and this is where I want the magic to happen. I think he's gonna click Dazzling Gleam, essentially. So I'm just gonna rip. So he's either protecting, or he's gonna, like... Because I think he wants... Okay, so I think here Neji wants to scout if I have Sludge Wave. Because there's no reason to bring Greninja in front of this Pokemon unless you have, like, a poison move, like Sludge Wave. Which I've run a lot this season, by the way. I've run a ton of Sludge Wave. So he's probably thinking I'm Sludge Wave. So he clicks Protect, and I go for... Toxic Spike. He brings in Celesteela, it takes a little damage, and I hit it with a Surf for 21%. Which is really good damage. I go for a Dark Pulse Flinch. I don't get it. This breaks my Focus Sash, which I knew was going to happen at some point. Anyways, I switched to Zapdos on Elite, and he just double-clicked Seed. He knew the reason that I clicked the move was because he was going to click Leech Seed. So here, my guy is in shambles. I do get into his Tusk. I do get his Tusk. I did get caught clicking Discharge, but there really wasn't any other click. Maybe Extra Sensory could have been a good click, but I didn't think it was... But I thought that there was, like, way too many Pokemon it doesn't damage. So instead, here, I know he's ripping a Rapid Spin here. And there is a line where I just click Extra Sensory here. And then I can, like, switch around a little bit. Where I can switch around on him, because I know he has Ice Spinner. I could switch around. I can't switch to Victini because it's gonna be faster. But if I had clicked Extra Sensory here, I would have done a lot of damage. Extra Sensory plus Poison, and then I bring Lopunny in and I click Fake Out. It's actually enough. It's typically enough with the 2 Poison Ticks to kill this, and it doesn't get the setup. But I didn't know that. I didn't think about that, and I also didn't think about this next move that he clicked, which was... I didn't think about... I thought about that, but Hurricane is 70%, so it's gonna miss. It had one shot at the King, and it missed, and it's fine. Because I knew I had enough. I went Terra Water, and I just started ripping Earthquakes. Because I know that my opponent is taking 12% from Poison. So I just need to get this thing to... I need to get this thing where it can't solo my whole team. Because right now, it can almost solo my whole team. He doesn't have enough damage now to kill me yet with Headlong Rush. So he has to click one more time. And I think that this crit was massive. It takes away 1 extra turn from him. He has 3 turns otherwise if I don't rip a damaging move. So here, I knew I was going to go down to Headlong. And I clicked Stealth Rocks in case somehow it low rolled and didn't KO me. But instead, both of us bring out our new Pokemon. It's Scizor versus Spectrier, and this is a matchup I actually absolutely want. Because pending that he wasn't like... Essentially pending that he wasn't just Specs, which is possible. Like, if he was like something like Specs and like whatever... This was nice. I was able to knock Celesteela's I was able to click knockoff and get off Celesteela's thing. Okay. Leech Seed. I knew that all this thing does is click Leech Seed, so I was more than free here to click T-Spikes. Yeah. So here I'm clicking Ice Beam. And this is the turning point. This game's very close. This game is very close. But this is definitely a potential turning point in the game, in that his Celesteela completely like walls out. Pretty much completely walls out my Scizor. I cannot heal. I do not have Roost on my set. I am forced to essentially have to keep U-turning around. And eventually Victini would have broken. Like, I think it's pretty much almost completely a fact that Victini would have had a chance to break if I got a U-turn off with Scizor. But, yeah. This was close. Meowka's here. And I had clicked every single move on my list. I had clicked Surf, Dark Pulse, and Ice Beam. I ended up going with Surf for a hedge, and it ended up not working. So here, I know what's coming. I know he's going to click U-turn. I let Greninja go down, but he brings Spectrier in, and he brings in first. I immediately know I have a free low punny. The reason I have free low punny is it's the fastest mon in the game, unless Meowscarada is Scarf. And I did not know if Meowscarada was Scarf, though. Regardless, I was able to get free Fake Out Chip. I was able to get a little bit of Fake Out Chip here. And so I know from this point that I can two-hit KO. Celesteela. But I have to order my moves correctly. If I just click close combat here, I get too low. Like let's say the Celesteela unthaws and clicks Flamethrower, and I have a drop. That is devastating. So I have to click return here first. Return will hit everything that switches hard. But return will also hit for like 20-ish damage here. So it hits for 19. So this thing is very bulky. This Celesteela is insanely bulky, but now I know that close combat kills. And that was probably a Flamethrower click. I thought it might be a Leech Seed, but I think it was a Flamethrower, if I had to guess. And here was a Protect click. Unfortunately, no Thaw, and Celesteela goes down, which really sucks for my opponent, if I had to be honest. So, because now everything here is going to get poisoned when it comes in, if it's not already poisoned. Because I got the second T-Spike up and sacked for it. So here, I know I'm safe. I know there's no taunt on this. And I know even on Spectrier, if there's taunt, I have a free click. So this is the freest Swords Dance. I was wondering if he was going to switch and try to preserve his, was going to try and preserve this. But I guess he didn't want anything to take a Bullet Punch besides it. So I got in with a Bullet Punch. Spectrier came in, ripped the Shadow Ball. A crit here would have been devastating. No crit happened. Fortunately happened for me. And I was able to rip a knockoff and take the KO. And here comes Meowscarada. And at this point, Bullet Punch plus poison damage wins. So, I win by 2 Pokemon. Absolutely a massive win. This game was insane. There was 10% both ways. I got a crit I got a pretty big crit with my Rhydon. And ultimately, there was an end game. Once Celesteela goes down, that Scizor cannot lose. So, but his Celesteela set was amazing. It's always a pleasure to play Neji. He's one of my prep partners during the season. So this week I want to shout out Wagon Fruit or Doki Dingus for the help in the prep. Helping me see some very important things with some calcs. And overall, I think showing me that Toxic Spikes could be very good. Getting rid of the Overquill early was huge, because then I could get T-Spikes up. It really was huge. And I move on to top 4. and I play the winner of Nice vs Nami, and I play the winner of Nami and Jayquaza. I would like to think that Nami will win, and that will be an uphill battle in itself. Nice vs Nami and Neji Boston are two of the best draft players I've ever gone against or prepped with, and they've both been prep partners for multiple leagues for me this season. So it's going to be a pleasure to play whoever I do next, but we're climbing that ladder, and I am absolutely thrilled to make back-to-back semifinals in Pokemon Masters League. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And I look forward to going over the top 4 next week, as I still have at least one more match to go. Until then, have a fantastic rest of your week, and I will see you next time.